Welcome back to the DiMera channel. We have some explosive news to discuss, so grab a snack and settle in, because the DiMera family is about to face a reckoning that will shake the very foundation of the town. The word on the street is that the iconic legacy character Susan Banks is making her highly anticipated return to Salem this summer. Can you believe it? Stacy Haiduk is pulling double duty again, and the reason for Susan's return is absolutely chilling. Susan is having her classic signature premonitions, and she is picking up on some deeply disturbing, mean vibes regarding her precious Elvis. Susan senses that EJ DiMera is completely losing his humanity and is on the verge of fully transforming into his sinister father, Stefano DiMera. She is coming back to town to put a stop to it, refusing to let her son become the monster that Stefano was. But EJ is already defending his ruthless actions, claiming the DiMera family desperately needs a strong leader. But here is the kicker, and this is where the slow burn storytelling is really starting to pay off. EJ's dark shift did not just happen overnight. Fans have noticed a terrifying change in him ever since he slipped Stefano's infamous ring onto his finger. It is almost like that piece of jewelry is a cursed artifact, slowly poisoning his mind and stripping away whatever shreds of decency he had left. We are watching a psychological horror story unfold right in front of our eyes. EJ is no longer just a ruthless businessman. He is evolving into a cold-blooded tyrant. Susan's maternal instincts are screaming at her that her son is drowning in darkness, but a lot of fans think it might already be too late. Once you embrace the Phoenix's legacy, it consumes you entirely, and EJ is absolutely bathing in the power and the fear he is generating. Let's be real for a second about the absolute devastation EJ is causing across Salem right now. We all know that DiMera Pharmaceuticals has been embroiled in a massive cover-up, and now the truth is spilling out. EJ is directly tied to the lethal Coriseal drug crisis that resulted in the tragic overdose deaths of Sarah Horton's patient, Destiny, and her sister. That is crazy. EJ is literally letting people die to protect his bottom line and his twisted experiments. This is exactly the kind of monstrous, zero empathy behavior that Stefano used to orchestrate from his chessboard. EJ is treating human lives like collateral damage, and he is doing it with a smug grin on his face. He thinks he is untouchable, but he is leaving a trail of bodies and broken families in his wake. And you won't believe what happens next when we factor in the absolute tragedy of Lexi Carver. EJ played God by using Dr. Rolf's highly experimental Versavix drug to resurrect his sister. But now, the cure is failing. Lexi is experiencing severe neurological symptoms, and the horrifying truth is that she is going to die all over again. EJ brought her back just to subject her, Abe, and Theo to the unbearable agony of losing her a second time. When Lexi inevitably heads back to the grave, the blame is going to land squarely on EJ's shoulders. Abe is already furious, and I cannot wait to see him unleash his full, righteous wrath on EJ. Playing God with people's souls is the ultimate Stefano move, and EJ is failing spectacularly at it, proving he lacks the calculated genius of his father. Now, I have to talk about my guy, Chad DiMera, because the contrast between these two brothers has never been more glaring. I think EJ claiming that the family needs a strong leader is a huge mistake and a massive insult to Chad. A lot of fans think EJ is the rightful heir, but I'm telling you, it's definitely Chad who holds the true power. Chad has always been the moral compass of the DiMera family. He fights for his children, he fights for love, and he fights to legitimize the family business without resorting to murder and drug cover-ups. Chad is out here trying to protect his kids from the chaos, while EJ is actively creating the chaos. EJ's version of leadership is just tyranny and fear, whereas Chad leads with intelligence and heart. EJ is a complete disaster, and Chad is going to have to be the one to step up and save DiMera Enterprises from total ruin. What is crazy is how EJ is treating the rest of the villains in his orbit. You know, things are bad when the bad guys are terrified of you. EJ has been ruthlessly threatening Kristen DiMera, and while I passionately hate Kristen for what she has done to Brady, Marlena, and Abigail, seeing EJ turn on his own sister with such venom is shocking. He is ready to enact brutal revenge against her. And then there is Gwen Rischek. Gwen is so terrified for her life that she is taking extreme paranoid precautions just in case EJ decides to wipe her off the map. When you have seasoned schemers like Kristen and Gwen shaking in their boots, you know the monster has truly been unleashed. EJ is isolating himself, ruling through absolute terror, and pushing away anyone who could potentially reel him back in. Let's connect this to the rich lore of Salem from 5 to 10 years ago, because this storyline is a masterclass in legacy character psychology. Remember when EJ himself was murdered and then secretly resurrected by Dr. Rolf? Coming back from the dead in Salem always leaves a permanent scar on a character's soul. EJ lost years of his life, and he lost a piece of his humanity in that resurrection pod. Susan has always been the quirky comedic relief, but her love for her Elvis is one of the purest things on this show. Years ago, she fought tooth and nail to protect him from Stefano's toxic influence, even donning fake teeth and wigs to outsmart the DiMeras. Now, history is repeating itself. Susan is marching back into the lion's den, but this time the lion is her own son. The psychological torment of a mother watching her child willingly become the devil incarnate is soap opera gold. So, what do you guys think? Is EJ lying again when he assures Susan he won't become a monster, or is he completely delusional? I am fully buying into the fan theory that Stefano's ring is more than just symbolic. What if Dr. Rolf laced the metal with a microchip or a slow-release hallucinogen that is actively altering EJ's brain chemistry? It sounds like a wild plot twist, but this is days of our lives, and nothing is off the table. I predict that Susan will realize she cannot reach EJ with just a mother's love. She might have to team up with Chad to physically steal that ring off EJ's finger. Chad is the only DiMera left with a soul, and he is going to have to go to war against his brother to save the town from this Coriseal nightmare and the fallout of Lexi's tragic fate. Let's wrap this up, because my blood is boiling just thinking about EJ's arrogance. The more people treat EJ like a monster, the more he leans into it. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy, and Susan's desperate warnings are going to fall on deaf ears. EJ is going to continue pulling his dirty tricks, making horrible lethal decisions, and dragging the DiMera name through the mud. But, mark my words, Chad is going to be the one standing victorious when the dust settles. EJ's house of cards is built on tainted drugs, failing science, and broken family bonds. It is going to collapse in a spectacular cliffhanger, and I cannot wait to watch Chad take his rightful place on the throne. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and stay tuned to the Chad DiMera channel for all your Salem updates.